And I think we're back and trying one more time. It's KCHW 102.7. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Trying to work out the bugs in our technical difficulties this morning, but I think we got it all worked out. Coming up at 8 o'clock, we'll tease it once again. We do have a guest coming into the studio, Keith Powell and Forrest Govedare. I believe Keith is going to join us over Zoom, and Forrest is going to be in the studio with Michelle, right, Michelle?
That is correct.
All right, and what are they going to be talking about?
So they're going to be talking about the Mammoth mural and kind of the progression of all the events that led up to Keith and Forrest's dad, David, working together originally on the mural and what it meant to them when they did it originally and what it means to actually be brought back in and to do the updates and stuff on it and keeping it and the changes that they made and just a history of another cool piece of art here in Chewelah.
All right. And it's great that they fixed it up. Touching on a couple things before we have our guest this morning. What's the status? How you doing with Boo Fest? That's coming up right around the corner. Are you in panic mode yet?
Only slightly.
Okay.
I have a great team of people that are, coming together to help me to work out all the kinks. And, honestly, I think that my biggest anxiety is that I've never actually been to a Boo Fest.
Oh.
So I'm trying to piece this together from ideas in my mind and kind of pulling from other people's experiences that have been there and trying to recreate this amazingness that Chewelah offers every Halloween to the kids in the community. So, but I think that with the people I'm working with, we'll be able to get it all laid out. And we do have a few interesting twists this year. So,
all right. It's kind of mass insanity with the amount of children on the streets. It's really crazy. So be ready for that.
That's why. So when people come through the station, because the radio station will be one of the photo op spots for you to come and get your picture taken for the costume contest. And so when they come through, they will get to leave with a glow stick so that they are easier to see as they wander around and it starts to get a little bit darker in the evening.
And that is happening on Friday the 28th, right?
Correct.
All right, we always do it on a Friday. Now, the radio station was the one who kind of started this, and then we handed it off to the chamber because it got so big it was a little hard for us to come up with the manpower to pull it off. So the chamber was a better fit for it. But just be aware, we always do it on the Friday before Halloween so that the businesses downtown can hand out the candy. One thing you might not know is the first year we did this, we ran the town out of candy.
Oh.
It was pretty awesome. Because there was two Halloweens for the kids. You had Halloween night, and then you had this Boo Fest. And the stores were running out of candy, handing it out. Now they've, after 10 years, they got it down and they stock up. But it was funny, that very first one, there was a candy shortage in Chewelah.
Oh, my goodness. That's crazy.
Which I find totally awesome. All right.
Good job.
All right, scary news headlines from this morning. Russian bombers getting kind of close to Alaska. Sent out a couple F-16 fighter jets to tell them to stand back. They didn't violate any airspace, but it did trigger American and Canadians' NORAD system for detecting aircraft. So it's, what do they call it? The Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone is where they were flying, and tensions are high, and we're getting ready to do maneuvers close to Russia. So I suppose they felt they should fly a couple bombers close to us. So, but no big deal. We're not going into nuclear war yet.
Yet. Don't say yet.
So sorry. Me and Val had a big discussion about that, how it's like back from when we were kids and being scared of the Cold War, and it's returned.
Everyone's out in their backyard digging bomb shelters.
Oh, man.
Can't stock up because there's nothing on the shelves.
On Yahoo this morning, a picture, if you want to check it out, of the ugliest sunfish you've ever seen. It's absolutely disgusting. 6,000 pounds. Largest sunfish, or bony fish, as they like to call it, ever found. So, yeah, creepy. Recordings last night released of former President Trump talking about sensitive military information with a reporter, famed reporter Bob Woodward. So, talking about how we have weapon systems that nobody's seen before, like Russia and China don't even know about them. Well, now they do.
Really so happy you talked about it.
Yeah, thanks. And then a couple stories on COVID. They're investigating Boston University for playing with the COVID virus, seeing if they were supposed to be doing what they were doing. I guess it has triggered a federal review after scientists at the school tested strains they created of the virus, combining the ancestral and Omicron variants. Health authorities say they're looking into whether scientists should have sought their permission before undertaking research that could lead to a gain of function in the virus, which means it gains new or enhanced abilities, which can be, they say, inherently risky. Huh.
The gain of function actually is a gain of transmissibility from one species to another, which is how we ended up getting it in the first place.
It could make it even stronger or more deadly. They could do all sorts of stupid stuff with it.
Yeah. Just leave it alone, would you?
Yeah, we got enough problems right now. We don't need any more COVID problems for sure.
And I'm sorry, but like, what kind of weirdo is like, here, let me see that petri dish and let me see if I can make something that will kill everyone.
Yeah.
Like, who does that?
Yeah. Isn't that possibly how this all got started in the first place?
Exactly. I'm just going to take this bone marrow from a bat and some other kind of weird, deadly thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just stop.
Just stop it. Then they found out, I guess, why some people haven't caught COVID. It's rare to find someone that hasn't had a battle or two with the disease, but I think you've skipped it, right, Michelle?
Not gonna.
Not for sure. All right.
End up with a science experiment.
All right. You're part of the experiment. Team of researchers from the University of California, San Francisco discovered a phenomenon reviewing data from over 1,400 people that may never test positive for COVID or have symptoms due to a genetic mutation. That's right, you're mutants. Mutation is actually not uncommon after research calculated 1 out of 10 people may have this specific genetic makeup. Teams found out that having the mutation does not cause a person to never have COVID enter the body. They just will never notice it because their body fights it off before they could even test positive. Virus enters our bodies, a gene called HLA alerts the immune system to start fighting back. However, when people do not have a mutation, this process can take a while and you start to feel the symptoms while your antibodies and immune system try to fight and stop the spread. When people have this HLA mutation, the cells already have the tools immediately to block the virus from spreading around the body. Now, this isn't like a typical mutation. It just means that somewhere along the line, these people have had the COVID virus. It's been around forever, different variants of it, and their body built up this HLA mutation. So my question is, and they never address it in this story, is why can't they give that HLA mutation to everyone? And would you take it? Okay. I mean, it's probably another shot.
I think something like that, though, would be like if you wanted to make an actual vaccine, something that actually builds, the body's natural immunities, that's the kind of thing that you would use rather than trying to build something out of the virus. Why don't you build something out of a stronger human's immune system and let that be the thing that fights off the sickness,
instead of these sciencey shots, this
right.
what do they call it? Recombined.
So
I can't even say it. RMA. That's kind of scary. Yeah, because they're actually messing with the DNA of the virus and stuff. So that always scared me in the first place when they talk about it, even though they say it's safe. But yeah, it'd be nice if we could find something that would trigger natural immunities in everybody.
It's kind of an interesting thing because not just skipping COVID, but I very rarely ever get sick with anything at all. So
you're an alien. There you go.
Cool.
Nice.
Knew it.
Nice. She's an alien. All right, story out of Florida, because they only come out of Florida, the really crazy ones. Son and his dad, son under 18 years old, A friend came by, dropped off medicine at their front door, which triggered their Ring camera, I guess. They thought somebody was trying to break in, so they ran outside with their guns, and the only person they could find was a lady in a car who refused to get out of the car when they asked her to, so they started shooting at her. She was not the person on their porch. Like I said, it was a friend. They've both been arrested, attempted murder charges.
Yeah.
And a reminder that just because, they've got easy gun laws, it's to protect you inside your home. You can't run outside and start shooting at innocent people. But it was
Well,
Florida, so.
that's crazy. Like, you run up to a car with some big guns. Hey, lady, get out of the car. I don't think I want to. Bang, bang. That makes no sense. That's just idiocracy all over.
I've got a problem with this guy anyway. It's Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd. He is all over Facebook and Instagram. He loves to see himself in videos playing cop because he constantly posts videos of himself and stuff going on. And I find it real. I'm like, how do you have time to do your job when you're posting on Instagram every day? But there you go. All right. One sad news story here. Netflix. Yeah, on Tuesday, detailed their plans to crack down on users sharing accounts from the streaming service, sharing their passwords. Bum, bum, bum. They're trying to come up with new software to detect it. In a letter to shareholders and showing their third quarter, this is just because they want to make more money. Executives said they would offer those currently using other people's accounts an option to transfer that profile to their own subscription. And if you're going to let somebody use your password, you're going to have to pay for them. And they've got some new software coming out that's going to be able to detect that somebody else is logging into your Netflix. And yeah, and the other streaming services are going to follow suit. And I won't say that I have a few that aren't mine, but I watch a few that aren't mine. Because somebody said, "Here, have my password. We're family."
It happens.
It does happen. All right, but yeah, look for more crackdowns like that coming to a server near you. Quick note here from the Valley Warriors Against Cancer, having a fundraiser for Stevens County cancer patients. It's a spaghetti dinner. It is going to be $12, and it is a dessert. An auction and a dessert auction and a raffle going on at the same time. I'll get it straight. It's happening at the Valley, and I think she maybe typed this wrong. It says Drop Time. I know the Valley Tavern changed ownerships and name, but I don't know if that's the name.
Yes, that's correct. The Valley Drop Time.
All right. Yep. What does tine mean? I don't get it.
Okay, so a drop tine is when a buck has a really expressed rack, like a 3, 4, 5 point. A drop tine is when they have those eye guards in the front and one is facing downward. It's kind of like a mutation in the antlers.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's pretty. I've been in there. I used to do karaoke there, and they are fantastic. They really are.
Valley Drop Tine Tavern. I've never killed a deer, so I had no idea.
Have you ever eaten one?
I have eaten deer, but I've never shot anything alive, and I really don't intend to, unless somebody leaves something at my front door and I pick it up on my Ring camera.
Well, I hate to say it, but if you've eaten it, you're complicit.
Okay, all right. Let's see. That is going to happen, by the way. That cancer fundraiser for local patients from 4 to 8 on Sunday, October 23rd. It is a bar, so you must be 21. So go out and support them in Valley. All right, Valley Warriors Against Cancer. They're always out there every now and then doing something good to raise money and help cancer patients, and you can chip in. All right, we covered Boo Fest. The other thing I did notice up on upcoming events is it looks like we have a haunted house starting this weekend.
Yeah.
But I don't have a location. It says 6 to 10, haunted house, October 22nd. Oh, here it's popping up now. It's at Bradley's Taekwondo. Really? They're going to change out the whole place into a haunted house. That's cool. And what a great idea for a fundraiser for them, since we lost drama at the high school. And they picked this up. So 6 to 10, it'll happen on October 22nd. Then again on the 28th and 29th at Bradley's Taekwondo on Main Street. Great fundraiser for them. 6 to 10 haunted house. So I was worried.
Right. So I believe that will kick off right after Boo Fest closes for the evening on on the 28th. So Boo Fest goes from 3:30 to 5:30, and then their haunted house opens at 6.
Nice. All right.
Nice kind of close to the evening. You can circle back into the downtown area, hit that haunted house, and everyone should be candied up and scared out and ready for bed.
Very cool. All right, we also have a new play coming our way called The Marvelous Wonderettes. They did a musical, and they've got the same gals in it that they did, I think it was like just before COVID started. It was an amazing musical. And they're running another one. Of course, Chihuahua Center for the Arts opening night is October 29th at 7 p.m. And I'm having a hard time pulling up my flyer. So I'll have more on this coming up. But don't forget, it's a little ways away. October 29th is going to be opening night for the Marvelous Wonderettes, 7 p.m. And there's going to be some fabulous singing and dancing again in Chihuahua. I love it. I love it.
Right.
All right. It is KCHW Chihuahua. We are looking at 8 o'clock. We're going to go to break. And when we come back, we should have Forrest Govedare and Keith Powell along with us. And we'll be talking about art in Chihuahua and their touch-ups of the mural on Highway 395. Stick around. It is KCHW 102.7.
Okay.
Are we all muted?
We are.
All right.
Come on over here, and I'll get you right here on this mic. I'll get you muted and dialed in, and then those headphones there are for you.
I don't really need to have video.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's on video, beautiful boy.
Also, this main interview, I was telling Melissa, she kind of just, this is really Keith, Keith and my dad did the mural. I don't
Right.
know a
Oh,
lot
I
of
know.
history on it.
I know.
I want to mention that, I want to do like a sculpture reveal next Thursday.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
kinda,
super excited.
So I'm just
about
kind of
that.
tagging along here.
Okay.
But Keith Powell's the main.
Right. So
For sure.
we're gonna lead into with him and his history and art, so that he can
gotcha.
kind of express that he has done lots of art. You
Yeah.
know, that he's
And my dad
not-
and him did a lot of creations together
Right,
on his
right.
own too,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I don't want to talk about any of my music at all.
Okay,
Because that's
okay.
nothing to do with the mural or anything.
Okay.
So
I
yeah,
wasn't going to force. I haven't put on headphones so he can hear me if he can't hear me. But I wasn't going to do that.
No, it's just I'm just kind of tagging along here. I do want to basically just when it's the right time to mention about this cool sculpture reveal, which I don't know if Melissa told you guys about it yet or not.
She did, and we will let you tease it in any way that you want. She said without giving it away. So I'll just kind of bring it up that there's something exciting happening. And what is the date of that reveal?
That's
Well,
gonna
it's
be
next Thursday.
Yeah,
Next
November.
Thursday.
Oh no, I'm sorry, no, first Thursday. Yeah,
Yeah,
First
November.
first-
Thursday. Okay.
I can hear you guys just fine right now. Do I have to have those on? I can hear just fine.
Once
you
we
don't-
go live, you probably will not be able to hear us. It'll cause echo. So
Yeah.
These ones we got. Loosen up a little bit.
I can maybe switch you out with these. Oh, someone broke my headphones.
It'll probably work. No, this is fine.
I'll have to glue them.
all right, I let Keith in, but I haven't heard from him yet.
I'm here if you can hear me.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't see you. Can you?
Yeah.
Is it?
This is only about the third time I've ever used Zoom, so I'm probably not pushing the right button.
So if you hover over that Zoom window, and you should see a video camera down there on the bottom.
Because
Eyeballs on here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a video camera down there. It's got a little arrow. There you are. Hey, how you
All right.
doing, Keith?
Hanging in there.
All right, good to see you.
Too.
I'm Scott. I'm in Maine, and then you've got Forrest and Michelle in Chihuahua, and I'm just trying to rearrange screens here a little bit.
Can you hear me, Keith?
I can.
How are you? Good morning.
Morning.
Bright and early.
Yes. Yes, it is. My whole days have been literally jumbled and mashed together. My daughter is on the other side of the planet, and it's driving me nuts trying to figure the time difference.
Yeah, right now.
We have the same problem here, don't we, Michelle?
on the radio, but any feeds going out online are catching all of this conversation.
Gotcha.
So just so you know that.
Good, good.
Yeah, it's a benefit for the Facebook viewers. They get to hear everything that happens behind the scenes.
Cool.
Good to know now.
Yeah, Forrest, don't say anything dirty.
Like mud puddles?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
You guys got the heat turned up in here. Feels good this morning. A little chilly this morning, a little brisk.
Oh my gosh.
Winter's right around the corner. I can feel it.
Yeah,
About time.
right around the Saturday.
Right?
So here we're
88 degrees here Sunday.
I think it's the 4th. Yeah.
No, third.
It's the 3rd?
Yep.
Oh.
so here where I am in Maine, we've gotten 10 inches of rain in the past 3 days.
Oh my God, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
I
I
know
mean,
that's
you
too
guys
much.
need it, but
That's
it's
too much,
ridiculous
but-
here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's weather chaos.
Roads are washing away. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Wow.
Can you see?
Yeah, you can see.
There you go.
Oh, you never popped it up on the.
I should get on this one. Can I see him on this one? Or is it too hard?
You got 3 minutes if you can go over there and log into the email and put the link in, Michelle.
Okay.
Not a big deal, but if you got enough time, I can get out of your way. That'd be nice to.
Right.
Yeah, feel like we're all here together, right?
Exactly. All right. Where's the mouse for this one?
So while they're doing that, Keith, and I can drop some extra stuff in too, Michelle, if we need another couple minutes here. I'm going to have you tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
And a little bit of history and how you got started as an artist. Then we'll go into you and David's original work on the mural on 395. And then we'll talk about you and Forrest doing your touch-up work to it and what that was like. And then we're going to kind of close out. Forrest wants to tease the first Thursday artist walk and unveiling of a piece of art that his dad did. So, sound good?
That art walk, that happens every month.
Yeah, every first Thursday.
And what's that fellow that owns the museum there? Not museum, the art gallery.
Yeah, Trails End. Tim Nelson.
Yeah, Tim Nelson. He's invited me to do a talk, the art talk, I guess, at the brewery.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So are you going to be a featured artist with Tim then coming up?
I haven't heard that. He just he's going to have me talk about the mural,
Okay.
and I assume my art, but I'm not sure if that's part of the agenda or not.
A lot of.
So can you get into the email and paste that link into the browser?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just mention about the first Thursday,
I think your piece is. I don't know if you need to be.
Oh, there it is.
Like for you, like your take on seeing your dad be a part of all these things, and then now you're kind of stepping into being a part of a lot of things in the art centric.
All right. You got that up, Michelle?
Yeah.
All right. Back into position.
Okay. It says join with computer audio. Do I need to do that or no?
No.
So just X out of
Yeah,
that?
no on video and audio. He just needs to be able to see the rest of us.
Okay, and then we can make it big. There we go.
All right. 40 seconds.
Dancing in the chords. Watch out for the spaghetti. Okay, let's go.
Quiet on the set.
30 seconds.
Feed it down the line for me.
All right. Quiet on the set.
You can visit the Auto Service Center at 806 East Main in Chewelah. Find them online at godfearingbrothers.com or by phone at 509-935-6414. KCHW FM thanks God-Fearing Brothers for supporting public radio in Stevens County. And we're back. Good morning. It's KCHW 102.7. Thanks for being tuned in. Also, you can be watching on Facebook, YouTube, and the website. We all have feeds going to all those locations, including kchw.org. And we got some people in the studio now, one on Zoom. In the studio, he's been on the radio with us before. It is Forrest Govedare. Good morning, Forrest, and thank you for sitting in on the show and adding a little color commentary.
I like it.
All right, all right. And our guest today is we're going to call him our featured artist. It is Keith Powell. I want to welcome you to the airwaves of KCHW. Keith.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, we've never had the pleasure of having you on the radio before, so we appreciate you taking the time to be with us. And many people might not know that Keith is one of the folks, of course, it was him and David Govedare that did the mural on Highway 395 right there by the school offices in the Century building. So, Keith, let's have you start off. Tell us a little bit about you and how you got started and your love of art.
Well, I've always done artwork. There was never a start. It was just always part of my life.
Okay.
I've never not done artwork. I was born in Ephrata, Washington, and spent my childhood in Oklahoma, moved back up here to Washington, and that's where I've spent the rest of my life. Most of my artwork has to do with, I guess, what would be called the spiritual side of what this land, this area, the people that were here, that are here. That's what I deal with mainly. That's what where my work comes from.
All right. Where are we talking to you? I never asked you that this morning when we were getting started. Where are you joining us from today? Are you in Ephrata right now?
No, I'm from my daughter's house in Bothell.
Okay.
I'm house setting. She's in the UK. In fact, she's in London right now. They're getting ready to fly back, and I've been being the nervous dad. I follow it. It's really interesting because I can see as she moves across the UK on my phone, and it's like, ugh.
What time is it right now in London?
Yeah. Anyway.
What'd you say? What time is it in London right now?
Oh, I can tell you exactly when it is. It is 4:12 in the afternoon. And she's currently on the tube coming from Buckingham Palace back to her Airbnb. So,
They're in the future.
yes, yeah, it's it's really strange. Yeah.
All right. So tell us about, we'll get into the mural in a second, but tell us maybe about a few of your other pieces of art that are really important to you that you were really excited to make.
Oh, well, the main body of my work has to do with, like I've done a series called The Seven Directions, and it's depicts each of the directions of our world and the animals that come to mind when you think about the different directions. And from that, shaman's vision, which actually came to me, I used to rehabilitate birds of prey, and I was feeding this huge female eagle, and in her face I saw the image, shaman's vision, and I sketched it and completed it. And it there was a person that saw my work. I was doing a show in Seattle, and she asked if they could use it on a book, and it ended up on a book that's in 7 languages. Every once in a while I'd get a book I couldn't read and a thank you note. I found out you only get paid once for that, for the English version. After that, it's Molly bar the door. So, but I did that, and I've done 3 different. I've been approached by WSU to use my artwork on books that they've published. One of them is called the book. Carl May was the author, a German author, and the book was Winnetou. They translated it from English into German, and they wanted to know if they could use one of my pieces. It's called The Gift, and it basically depicts the coulee, Grand Coulee where I live, and an eagle flying over the top of it, dropping a feather. And in the distance below, you can see 3 men on horseback. I don't know if you've ever been along the Cooley Walnut, but with the winds the way they are, that feather could have ended up any place. And that's the point of the piece. But anyway, it's on that book. And the other thing besides, let's see, I did Waylon Jennings, I found out, the singer, songwriter, Western singer, he collected some of my work and he approached me to do an album cover for him. He's one of the few people I've actually done something for. And it was quite an ordeal. I did three major things for this art director, and then basically Waylon and he decided the art director wasn't going in the right direction, and I was told just do what I wanted to do. So I depicted an eagle, and he said it was what he wanted, and that was on his last album cover, solo album.
What album is that, Keith?
Huh?
What album is that?
Excuse me, I didn't hear you again.
He wanted to know the name of the album.
Oh, the eagle.
The Eagle.
Yeah, the eagle. Yeah, actually, that was during the when we were going into Gaddafi land, and they were there was a song on that particular album, "The Eagle Will Rise Again," and they were using, I guess there were pilots flying into the zone that were playing that on their on their headsets, and it kind of bothered him that they were using that. So anyway, it just kind of, it wasn't the most popular album,
Okay.
but it was his last. The one that he did after that was with Christopherson and Johnny Cash and
The Highwaymen.
the Highwaymen. Yeah, that was the next one.
So I'm looking at some of your artwork, Keith, and I see a lot of Native American images. Do you have some Native American ancestry yourself?
Yeah, I do, but it's Cherokee and Choctaw. It's from back east, and it was one of those things where it had to do more with property than anything else, I assume. I don't know the history about it. I do know some of my ancestors, but no, I'm basically Welsh.
Okay.
I'm Scottish, but I do study, and I do know a lot about our history of this area, and it's motivated me to do a lot of the work that I've done. I mean, our area was kind of historically left out of the mainstream limelight because being so far west, most of the things the public knows about that's common is from the Plains people. Mm-hmm. And this area here, there's things that happen here that would, well, anyway, there's a lot of history here that isn't known. Mm-hmm. And it's very valuable. Oh, I'll give you, for instance, very few people know is people right here in our area, Coeur d'Alene, Spokane, sailors, they were all hunting buffalo in central Montana around Great Falls before the Lakota had horses. Wow. These people are on horses hunting buffalo. So this area is really dynamic. I mean, as far as the history.
Well, that makes sense with the terrain and stuff that's around here. But I have to say that your artwork really beautifully captures, the essence of Native American spiritualism, and the way that you've titled your pieces is just beautiful.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And if people would like to check out some of Keith's work, powellartstudio.com. And then, Keith, you're also on Facebook as well, correct?
Yeah, I try and stay on there. My daughter hounds me a lot about it. In fact, I have a YouTube channel and a Patreon channel that I haven't launched yet because I'm still trying to figure out content, actually how I'm going to do it. I want to keep it simple, and I'm not doing it. I'm doing it just, I'm really wanting to reach out and communicate with people. That's, get some feedback. And, my age, making a living is important, but it's not the driving force. Actually, it never has been the driving force, much to my wife's demise. But Um, I really I'm looking forward to what that venue, Facebook and not Facebook, but YouTube and can be the interaction. I've watched other YouTubers and their content, and I'm hoping that when I get on there and start explaining my work, why I did it, what the concepts mean, I'm just really anxious for the feedback and to make some connections.
All right.
That's what I'm wanting to do.
All right. Well, let's keep moving and let's talk about the mural. What year did that originally happen in with you and David?
Forrest, if you agree with me, it's 2000, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. See, David, he and I had our careers, and we met in Spokane at one of our major art shows. We'd seen each other's work and never met, and really hit it off. And what would happen from time to time is David being really driven. He's on the list for public art. I don't know if people have seen, like, whenever they do anything like with roadways or anything that is state funded or federally funded, or county funded publicly, he's on this list where he gets the jobs. And so to me, sitting back and not having any part of that, every once in a while, David would come up and tell me that, hey, we got this proposal. Do you want to talk about doing it? And one of them was the mural in Chihuahua. And the exciting part of that was they didn't have any idea what they wanted, so they left it up to David and I. And both David and I have spent a lot of time on horseback. I mean, packing and trips like into Mount Adams, and he went into Yellowstone a lot. I've done that all my life, and so we have history of being outside, real orientated with that kind of activity. So the thought of doing a piece based 15,000 years ago, right after the last glaciers were starting to recede, that's a clean slate. Nobody saw that. Nobody have a clue of what happened. So it was wide open. And so we just let our imagination go. And we'd watch these documentaries on these villages that were found in Asia, where mammoth bones were collected, and the villagers would actually create their structures out of the mammoth bones. And so, since it was our imagination that was driving this, we discussed what could or might happen. So the storyline is what that mural depicts, as far as what David and I talked about, is in our imagination, that was where these huge mammoths, their graveyard. People have heard about how elephants have their graveyards and they scatter the bones and they come back periodically to touch the bones. Well, in our mind, these people found these bones and made their structures and their village. And they even made an altar off in the distance for one of the skulls to greet the sun coming over Flowery Trail. And the mammoths returning, the matriarch, they're led by the big female, the little baby coming up. And the whole idea was this mammoth was coming back to touch the bones of the ancestors, of her ancestors. And here was this village made from the ancestors' bones. And the shaman standing there with his drum, we would laugh about, if that actually happened, what that would be like to somebody confronted by something that big and trying to stay cool and calm. I mean, it's completely imagined. We never once thought we were depicting, a real event that was historically ever real, ever, in existence. But again, the whole thing is like a dream. If you look at it from the sides, when I did the original watercolor, it doesn't have that aspect to it, and it never was going to. The whole point was to have that the watercolor, the prints that are available, that was the starting point for the mural. We put a grid over that, so every cement block on that wall was represented by a part of that grid. And that's how I took that image and was able to transfer it up onto the wall, is between pointing with a laser and marking points on the wall. that whole image was transferred up there. But when you look at the print as compared to the mural, the shards of light coming out from that view and the clouds and the 7 eagles that are flying, all meant to make people look at that as a vision, as a dream, not as an actual depiction of a particular event. But we did pay attention. You can go to where that Forrest would probably know the road better than I would. David and I went across the valley to the west, parallel with the community, where we could line the community up with Flowery Trail and look right across. That whole scene and view shed is accurate.
Wow. That's amazing.
How long did it take you guys to do that, Keith, back in the day? I just remember being a little kid running around the highway there.
Well, I think it was about 2 months, but the biggest issue was, I don't know if anybody's ever watched an artist work, but like when I'm painting or doing a piece, there's a lot of sitting there with, scratching your head, looking and putting the whole composition together and figuring out, what you're going to do. And that takes place with something that size, 200 feet long, over there by the creek. So that meant every time I wanted to ponder what I'm doing, I had to run across that highway. And I don't know if anybody, well, I know everybody there in Chewelah knows what that's
like. A half hour to get across it now, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, and it was always a dance. I mean, I felt like I should have got hazard pay for that. I mean,
that side, you can't really grasp it unless you're back, So
yeah. That whole thing. Another thing that David and I have done historically with our sculpting pieces, the one that comes to mind most prominently is the one in Lewiston, at the bottom of the Lewiston grade. I think there's 28 life-size figures. We spent hours driving through that intersection trying to figure out where each piece in that sculpture should go and how people, when they see it, how they're going to react. And in fact, we actually thought we'd probably get pulled over sometime because, I mean, we were really loitering a lot. And after we did the piece, we kept getting calls, people laughing and remarking that the police from time to time would get 911 calls that there were horses loose on the freeway. And some of the horses from time to time even had flakes of bales of hay put in front of them like offerings.
That's something my dad really captured in life, building and as artist, keeping stuff in motion, and you guys together. Mm-hmm. Keep, something that's in still, just like the Wild Horse Monuments.
Right.
It looks like they're moving constantly,
Yeah,
it's
especially
like
as you're
downtown.
Especially as you're driving down the highway, in your peripherals, if you're driving down, it does look like they're moving. Exactly. You did fantastic with that.
It's interactive artwork. Yeah, that's one thing that David and I wanted to do that never took place. Is we never could figure out how to fund it. Is placing a piece of artwork along a view shed as you're driving down the highway, that when the land in front of it would move behind the piece that the piece is on, it would actually create movement to where it was like, we called it drive-by art, where you could just see it for a few minutes and then it was gone. And people were like, did I really see what I saw? Anyway.
How many projects did you and David work on together? Any idea?
Forrest just sent that to me. How many was that, Forrest? 7?
Beginning on that piece of paper there. There's a little bit. I'm sure there's some other ones, but that's mainly. Is that page number 1?
6 different public works over 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
probably.
Yeah, possibly. So you just mentioned the one from 2006, the Storyteller. Is that the one? Yeah.
Well, the Storyteller is that was on next by the Lewiston Clarkston Bridge.
Oh, so that's different than the Lewiston Clarkston.
Yeah, that was a separate piece.
I want to go see this one. You have the Healing Waters, and
Calling the Healing Waters. Yeah, the sundial.
That sounds amazing.
See if we can get a picture of that up on.
I have to make like a Eastern Washington. What's it called when you go looking for things? Scavenger hunt of your artwork.
Yeah. Calling the Healing Waters. That's was on the shores of Soap Lake, and it's a sundial. life-size, 2 human figures, life-size sundial.
Oh, neat.
You have a better one over there?
Yeah. Let me that up here. I don't know if it'll.
Yeah, there it is. A little closer. There it is.
Oh yeah. I was
Good.
trying to find it on Facebook so I could capture it, but I'm not having any luck.
Google Calling the Healing Waters. Soap Lake Water. It'll come right up.
Yeah, that's pretty
Off of
neat.
the old Google machine.
Yeah. The endless Google.
All right.
How many does it have?
Keith, Melissa Silvio kind of had put us all in touch together and urged us to bring you on the radio. She wanted me to ask you about, ask you who was DC Black, and can you talk about what he means to you?
Well, he and I are in constant contact. He's a Mississippi blues singer, and like most artists, musicians, and sculptors and painters, is struggling. Well, what he did for a living to keep himself going was house painting, and DC was I was introduced to DC by David because of David being involved in the blues scene and listening to venues in Spokane. Anyway, but DC and I and David all got to be really good friends, and when this mural came up, one of the issues I have when I'm doing something that size is I physically, even at that age, it was a task to paint the whole thing. And so we hired DC. The first job he did was to paint over an existing mural that was there. I heard that the mural was done by some boyfriend of some girl whose dad was on the city council, or so, I don't know the real story. But anyway, it was a mural that was there, and it was a pastoral scene of Chihuahua, and in the scene were horses. Well, we hired DC to paint over the whole thing, the whole wall, and I was watching him, and he was over there chuckling to himself. He said, "Hey, took a look at this. I don't want to get a picture of it before I paint over it, but check this out." There was a little pinto about 2 inches tall, and that was the last thing that he was going to paint over. He was getting ready to paint over the top of it.
It's still there.
And I said, "Leave it."
Yeah.
And it's there. I mean, I didn't touch it. It is the exact horse that was there from the original mural.
That's a good scavenger hunt for everybody listening.
Yeah, and to give you a hint, it's at near the shaman's feet, past his drum, along the creek bottom. It's not in the creek. There's a little riffle of water that goes through there. When I did it, I imagined being a pinto, it would look more from a distance like little blobs of white and brown, so it could pass for a stone. So it's one of the stones along the creek.
All right.
It's not touched.
It's kind of like an Easter egg.
Yeah.
How long did it take for DC to cover that mural up back in the day?
He took a day. That was a day project, and then I would block off areas as the mural was being, as I actually blocked off the image and got the image down, there'd be areas that needed to be painted like a certain sky blue or a land or whatever. These large areas, I'd have DC paint them, and David even got there. He painted a couple of them, and that way it would be there for me to go in and bring out the detail and get the thing composed. But DC did that, and to me, the part of DC that's important is something Forrest can address, because DC and Forrest were DC basically introduced Forrest to music.
He was my harmonica teacher from 4 years old.
Yeah, and that's what you can let Forrest talk about that, but DC's coming back, and I can't wait for him to get here. I love the guy.
We'll play some blues together when he does.
Awesome.
All right. So Keith, what are some of your current projects that you're working on?
I'm well, I have 3 eagles that I'm doing. I got 2 of them. One of them is already sold, and I need to complete it. It goes to Juneau, Alaska. And then the other one is a friend of mine that's another sculptor friend of mine that lives down in Lewiston, Ralph Crawford. He did his claim to fame. Beautiful work. He's master mold maker for bronzes, but he depicted Arnold Schwarzenegger hired him to do a larger than life size statue of himself.
Oh my goodness.
And in fact, one time my daughter, when she was about 5 years old, we went down to visit Ralph, and he was in the midst of this one that he was, in fact, it never ended up getting done, a 12-foot sculpture of Arnold in this big building he built that looked like a handball court. And I found out later, scared the hell out of my daughter, because she walked in there and all she could see is Arnold's butt, 10 feet in the air. And anyway, it never got done. But what he ended up doing was this heroic Olympics style statue of Arnold that was a little bit larger than life size. But anyway, that man always liked my work as far as what I have done with eagles, because he's being a sculptor, he knows it's just something a lot of artists have a hard time getting, is the shape of an eagle's face and the way they look. Anyway, he hires me. He has hired me to do an eagle for him, and I'm in the midst of doing that. And then I have the third eagle. When it's done, is going to have a 15-foot wingspan, and that's when I'm lamenting over the fact that David isn't here to help me, because that's of all the things that he knew, is how to engineer a piece and how to make it work. And I'm going to have to.
I think we can figure that out. Come up to the shop.
Yeah, okay. But I don't know if you heard, Forrest, I've already been paid for this one, so I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna figure that one out.
We'll make something work.
Okay.
I suppose it's it's with the artists, you get the money and you spend it, and yeah, so that's the way it kind of works.
I told my wife, I said, artists are like hunter-gatherers. You go out, find something, kill it, eat it, then you go hunting again. And so there was we'd get a big gob of money and I'd put fires out and then start another project. Mm-hmm. She was really patient with me.
I used to do kind of the same thing. I'd go out and I would DJ weddings. Well, you get paid up front, to reserve that day. Oh. And then when you go do the wedding, you're like, it felt like you weren't getting paid for it. Because I already spent the money.
Yeah, well, lucky for that's happened with his eagle job. Always before when we worked with David is, that's one of the beauties of working with David, because he knew public projects, is he would get the funding up front to get us started. So we had money to live on. And then when we got the project done, I literally, one time, we were driving back from the Lewiston job and just got a big gob of money. And my wife was complaining that our car didn't have a cup holder. I already had planned this, but the joke was I pulled over and bought a used Toyota 4Runner that had a cup holder so she could have someplace to put her coffee, and paid cash for it. I mean, it's like, and then, or as a pulper after that. But
here's your cup holder.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Forrest, let's have you scoot up to that microphone so we can hear you a little bit better. I could kind of hear you making some comments before, but if you're not right on the mic, it gets cut out. I wanted to ask you, Forrest, what was it like for you? I know it's hard losing your dad, but what was it like being able to step into dressing up the mural, and what was that like for you and getting to work with Keith?
Well, I wouldn't really say it was dressing up much on my part. I had to come over there, and it was really cool watching Keith add some touches that he always wanted to over the years that haven't been done. And, back then, I think Keith could tell you the story of when the mural was finished, 2000 area. Mm. My dad and Keith, and I think you guys signed the mural with a Sharpie, didn't you?
Permanent marker.
Permanent marker.
That's not permanent. It disappeared about 2 years.
And, before the mural got sealed recently, I believe, correct?
Mm-hmm, it did, yes.
So I had to put the Govedare mark on it, and that was pretty special,
Yeah.
Something I could do when you're still here. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm glad it's going to be protected for years to come now. That was really special.
Have you are you dabbling more in art than maybe you have before now, Forrest?
Well, I've always had the opportunity to work in our shop and do my own projects, and work with my dad over the last 15 years or so. And I think when inspirations arise, I get out there and create some stuff. But yeah, I got projects going right now in the shop. Yes.
Now I know I got to interview your dad right before he passed, and one of the things that he was so excited about in his voice, you could just hear it, and that's on our YouTube channel too. And I think I gave you a copy of it. Was working with you and the Sasquatch that you guys were working on. Now, did that project have to end, or is that something you're going to try to finish yourself, or how's that going?
That project is still definitely on the shop table. It's kind of in the background right now, just dealing with a lot of different stuff at the shop. And that was there's some funding still that needs to be raised for that, and we'll be setting up kind of a campaign in the future to get that done. But at this point, yeah, it's definitely in the horizons.
So now you have something to tease, a little bit of your dad's history, and that is going to be unveiled soon. Give us your tease for us. The floor is yours.
Oh, okay. Well, so probably one of the most known pieces of my dad's career. There's quite a few of them out there, actually. But so next Thursday, well, not next Thursday, first Thursday, sorry. It'll be November 3rd.
I believe so.
Chewelah Art Walk. I'm going to be unveiling a piece of artwork that has been in hiding for probably 25, 30 years.
I'm so excited.
And it's a pretty big deal. And, we lost him last November, well, a year ago in November. So it'll be kind of like an honorary to my dad.
Right.
And we're going to have it somewhere on Main Street. We're not sure yet.
Right.
It won't be on any of the other streets. So probably around 6 o'clock on November 3rd, we're going to do a pretty cool unveil of a iconic piece of artwork.
I believe that we will be going live from the event too. So I'm hoping that we can be situated somewhere near it. I want to catch some of the oohs and ahs and the adulation and surprise from the crowd.
It's pretty big, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
I'll tell you that.
Pretty excited.
So November 3rd, first Thursday, probably between 6 o'clock, 6 and 7:30, somewhere in there. It'll be up for viewing for a few hours. So
very good.
Yeah.
All right. Is it so big it'll have to be brought in like in a truck or something?
I would definitely say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa.
It's not going to fit in the back of the car, I'll tell you that.
It's kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
All right. Now, Keith, you mentioned. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I said I hope everybody can be around to see that and appreciate it. It'll be great.
And Keith, you said you were approached to do an artist talk with Mr. Tim Nilsson at the Trails End Gallery. Do you have a date on that we can share with listeners too, Keith?
I think it's the 2nd.
It'll be at the brewery.
Okay.
At the brewery.
Okay, so they do the artist talks the night before the first Thursday art walk. So then you have the date right. So you would be that Wednesday evening before the first Thursday at the brewery. You can catch up with Keith Powell in person and maybe even shake his hand. There you go.
Fist bump me.
Okay, yeah, it's COVID. Fist bump. There you go. All right, so did we miss anything you gentlemen wanted to talk about today?
Not much.
All right.
Well, the only thing I can think of is I'm hoping for people to be able to understand a little bit more of what David and I had in mind when we did the mural. That's something I'm going to cover during this art talk. I want it to be question and answer because a lot of the things that come to mind, I have a tendency, the high points to repeat, but if I can have feedback from people, because they've been looking at it for 20 some years, I'd like to know, anecdotally, what they've thought of it, over the years, what they thought was going on. I can imagine it's like. It
only takes a second to drive by, just.
Right.
Exactly.
You and my dad really created a lot of artwork like that. That's what's special.
Yeah.
It don't take long.
All right. It's a good legacy. Let's see. Then I want to plug your website one more time. All right. And you are on Facebook, and I found him real easy. I just Googled Keith Powell Artist, and you popped right up. And you were right, Forrest. I could Google, and I did pop up that. I'll do it again real quick here on the Facebook feed. The sundial. Yeah, there it is again. That's beautiful. And it's Keith Powell. Your website is Keith. Let's see. No, it's powellartstudio.com. Powellartstudio.com. And there's some magnificent art there as well.
Can I mention something real quick?
Sure.
Go to Facebook, Govedare art and sales page also. And there's some limited edition prints on sale on some different stuff. And So that's on Facebook also.
Give it
under
one
Govedare-
more time.
Govedare Art sales page.
Okay.
Facebook.
All right. All right, gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time this morning. A big round of applause for both of you. All right. And we'll catch up with you on Wednesday night and then for the first Thursday. And it's amazing how time's flying. It's just a couple weeks away. All right.
Oh boy.
All right.
Yeah.
Keith, do you know what time you're going to be there? 5:30, 6, Art Talk?
You know what? I've got to get with Tim and find out. But
Doors open
I'm
I know the doors open at 5:30. I think the talk starts at 6 usually. Usually does it the same
Okay.
every Wednesday. So
Well, hopefully, Forrest, I can see you before then. I want to be able to sit down and chat.
Touch base.
all right, and thank you guys for your work dressing up the mural there on Main Street in Chewelah. All right. Well, I shouldn't say Main Street, 395. All right. Great job, guys. Thanks for joining us doing art on the radio.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening. If you missed any part of today's broadcast, it will be on Facebook and YouTube. And we invite you to keep on listening to Northern Lights Public Radio. We are KCHW 102.7. Have a great day. Don't forget, tomorrow's Thursday. It's a Three Amigos Thursday with me, Chuck Ritchie, and Alan Milani. We'll catch you right here on 102.7 FM.
You're listening to Northern Lights Public
All right.
on 102.
Thank you very much, guys.
Hey, thank you. Well, we'll talk